Thank you.
Good. Then thank you so much. I am here happy to present and represent my colleagues, Luis Pfister and Felix Stauch, about the paper that we wrote related to the development of an application to optimize construction processes using low-code technology. So has everybody heard about low-code, what it is? Low-code is a new technology paradigm that supports the development of customer-oriented application that it seeks to reduce the amount of manual programming that we are doing when developing the application. What does it mean in the practice is that when we want to develop an application, we need to program something. We need to know a programming language like Python or Java, for example. What happens with low code, on the other hand, there is an interface between the user and the code. And in this way, a person that has no clue about programming can put together an application using a canvas like the one that you see there, just dragging and dropping different components that are predefined in the system. That means that the technical barriers for technology development are really reduced, allowing a larger group of people, even people working on construction sites, to develop applications by themselves. The low-code terminology, or as a technology, it was introduced in 2014, so we can say that it's a relatively new term. And it has been used in different industries already to digitalize different type of processes. There are different vendors on the market, and even the Project Management Institute is releasing some online e-learnings for people so they can learn how to work with the technology. There are some very bold marketing statement that says that, for example, by 2025, nearly 70% of the applications will be done using some sort of low-code. I'm not sure if that prediction will materialize, but eventually, what the bottom line is that low-code will become a relatively important technology to support digitalization in different businesses and different industries, including construction industry. The gap in the research related to this particular field is that there is not so much research dealing with the implementation of low code in the context of construction operation. And this is somehow what we want to introduce with our research, trying to see how this new technology paradigm can help us in the digitalization process in the construction industry. So now getting into the details of the case study. So what we try to do in this case. So we try to digitalize a process that is typically run using pen and paper. So people, in this case, a tunneling project, they collect information about the different work that they do in a tunneling project. Information that is collected in these forms is activities, type of resources, hours of machines that are used, and so on. And they write the stuff in a piece of paper, and somebody collect those different pieces of paper, put it in an Excel spreadsheet, and nobody knows what happened with the data. So that is the process that they run manually, and we try to put an application together in order to replicate the process of capturing data using a low-code development platform that in this case is Microsoft Power Apps. This is a representation or a screenshot of the application. It has different data points that people need to enter in the application, and they save it, and that information is stored in a database. The data model that you see in the other side tries to replicate all the different data points that we collected from the interaction with people on the field. Basically, it's all the data that was contained on those paper forms. The results of this experience are very positive in both areas, in the development process and also in terms of process optimization. We were able to put this application to work in about 3 months, working very closely with people on the field. One of the things that helped us a lot is that the people who was involved in the development of the application, including myself, we have understanding of the operation that they were running. So translating the requirements into a specification of the application was not very difficult. And also at the same time, we had a very open access to the project, and that enables a lot of agility, along with the fact that using different predefined components supports the speed in the process, and we were able to put prototypes to be tested by the people, and in that way we refined the process and the application itself. In terms of process optimization, the results are obvious. We remove a lot of waste from the process, and we managed to save about 200 minutes from that simple process. And that is just measuring how was the people doing the thing with paper and how was people doing it with the app. So that translates into about 4,000 hours extrapolating the duration of the project, which that is significant savings in terms of power for the project. So this kind of exploratory study helped us to identify also a lot of different interesting areas. One of the things that we always ask ourselves in this type of project is related to the one-of-a-kind nature of construction processes. We find a lot of very specific processes in construction that are not supported by technology. And one of the first things that we did before embarking into developing something is to go in the market and try to find something. And the answer is we couldn't find something that helped us with a solution. So the low-code approach in that case somehow match or help us to support that one-of-a-kind nature of different processes that we have in construction. Another important topic that we found in our way is the relationship of low code with BIM. So BIM is the predominant engineering system that we use in construction, and we are wondering how we can efficiently link the data that is collected with low code with the IFC schema, for example, and how to do that efficiently. We have managed to do so, but through a ton of different manual steps, importing, exporting, and so on, and that is not very efficient. So there is no way we can visualize, for example, an IFC model in Microsoft Power Apps, for example. So would it be worthwhile to develop a component that can handle IFC data in Power Apps? So that's an interesting question. The other one is related to computing literacy. We always say that people generally in the construction industry has not so many computing skills. And by lowering the technical barriers, low-code seems to be an interesting approach to support people with low computing literacy. Here I have to say that I disagree a little bit with the marketing statement that the vendors of low-code are usually stating like everybody can develop something with this type of technology. In our experience, that's not the case. If you want to put something together, you need to understand a little bit how to model data, for example, and you have to have a minimal knowledge of computing in order to develop an application. And then related to the major benefits of low-code, I found this video. I don't know if I can manage to run it. So this is kind of the thing that happened when we develop something. There is a client providing requirements, and eventually somebody has to write something that's translated to the specification. The longer the distance is between the client and the guy who is writing the code, the more complicated it is to really finalize with something that is useful and meet the requirements of the end client. What low-code does basically compress this, allowing people that is closer to operation to work in their own challenges. What a great thing is that, because I can work in the solution that helped me on my requirements. So that is a very good advantage of Flow. So eventually, to finalize, we have realized significant benefits of low-code, but there are also many limitations that needs to be further explored. So there are, as I mentioned, different different interesting research topics that need to be addressed in order to fully understand what low-code can be for the construction industry.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Martinez. Thank you for your